last night's draft.
Oh, yeah, interesting.
What did you find interesting about it?
It was the first draft I watched in a while because I'd kind of been following this crop of kids. Interesting to see how Ace Bailey does. I think he's a tremendous talent, and I think his antics or his management antics had him slide a few slots that he didn't want to slide to. Yeah.
Well, I mean, he was one away from apparently
I guess what he wanted.
Mission,
so it almost happened.
It almost happened. But it just takes one team to just say,
yeah,
we don't care if you
don't. And Danny Ainge is that kind of guy. That's why I like Danny Ainge. Danny Ainge put a plug in that. So really interesting because, I mean, tremendous talent. Seen him play live. Got a chance to see Cooper play live. Like I said, this is kind of the class I got a chance to see. So really excited. What I kind of found interesting was, and I think this is kind of the disconnect from my era to this era, is a lot of these kids you don't know anything about. Like, there's no storylines. You couldn't really follow them in college and understand what they had, because there's a lot of overseas guys or the one and done. So there's a lot of kids that went in the first round that I was just like, I think I know this game pretty well, but I have no idea who. And that's not a knock on their talent by any means. They're just not really names that you've got a chance to grow accustomed to yet.
Right, and that's, again, we were just talking about it before. The NFL draft, when somebody's drafted, you're like, oh,
their storyline.
I saw that guy light it up in the Big 12. I saw that person light it up in the SEC. I know that's a defensive player of the year from the Big Ten that slid to the fourth round. Here it's just like, I guess I got to Google the Adriatic League.
Yeah, and then sometimes you look at their numbers and their numbers aren't overwhelming, and you're just like, okay, well, let's wait and see what happens. So I think that's the only thing I kind of took away is, like, they're not, and I wouldn't, I guess you can call some college guys household names, but I just remember my era, like you said, to the football point you just made, you kind of got to see their trajectory and know their past body of work, and then, have expectations for them once they make it. But with basketball now, it's so young, and the one and dones and the influx of talent from overseas, you just don't know any of these kids.
Yeah, last 2 years, a lot of G League at the top, and now you're seeing. This was more of, I guess, of an international influence as well. Matt Barnes of All the Smoke here on the Rich Eisen Show. You said Ace Bailey, you saw him play. What do you think? Really? Yeah.
Could put the ball in the basket. It was interesting too, because obviously he was listed at 6'10", but I guess without shoes they said 6'7", so he's probably 6'8", 6'8.5". But outside of that, his ability to put the ball in the basket is incredible. His length, his 3-level scoring, just really impressed. But I didn't know him at all as a person, so that was the kind of the one thing that I just. You hate to see young players, whether it's them or their representation, kind of get them off to the wrong foot in this league, because this league is kind of like high school from a standpoint of everyone's always gossiping about someone, and a reputation can, really harm you or harm your money. And I just hate for, guys to get into situations and harming their money before they get a chance to actually show their talent. But I liked every time he spoke, he's like, hey, I'm keeping the main thing. Basketball is my main thing, and that's what I'm going to focus on. So, moving forward, Utah probably wasn't the landing destination he wanted to be in, but he's there now, and I'm sure he's going to put his best foot forward.
Obviously, I chalked up a lot of his comments where he was keeping the main thing. I'm talking about basketball, as somebody was just like, just say that.
Yeah.
Just say that. Yep. Even if it doesn't fit, we'll get you through the interviews and get you drafted and get you done.
Right.
Because he's 18 and he's just taking the advice, I imagine. That said, I couldn't imagine the Sixers, if it is true that Bailey's like, I don't want to come to do dinner. I'm not breaking bread unless you give me a guarantee that you're taking me. How can you draft that player after they say that, and then look at the rest of the organization and say, please do what we're asking of you, when we asked it of somebody who's not even part of our organization, and then made him part of our organization? It's tough.
Tough call.
It's a tough call.
But I say,
right?
with all due respect, I would much 10 out of 10 times rather be in Philly than Utah. You know what I mean? So I just think from a city standpoint, obviously there's talent in Utah. There's talent in Utah, but, talent in Philly, it's a little up in the air what Embiid and PG are going to be to that franchise moving forward. But, you have Maxey and the kid that got hurt this year.
Again,
Jared McCain.
Yeah.
Jared McCain. Yeah, so you put those two with an up-and-coming 6'8" scorer. I mean, I think you're building for the future, regardless of what PG and Embiid situations are. So I don't know. I would have been probably the same if I'm in a GM position. I'm saying F your demands. I'm like Danny Ainge, and I'm going to take the best player available. So I would have definitely took him at 3, knowing what the upside is. And again, being 18, he was probably heavily influenced by his camp, and you just, hope that basketball is basketball.
So you think the Sixers should have just taken him
I
anyway?
think so.
Because of because the eye test, talent over everything.
Talent, talent, and again, at a young, I was even immature in my 20s. You know what I mean? So you always know that people are going to outgrow the immaturities that they may possibly come into to the league with. But his talent is undeniable. So I'm really excited for him. He's landed somewhere, and we're just going to have to see what happens.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.